In this video, I'm going to talk about the proper uses of artificial intelligence in a programming class. So AI has really blown up in the last year. The technology has grown super fast. It's gotten a lot better than it used to be. I can remember 8 months ago, if I were to type in one of my programming assignments, it would give me code, but the code wouldn't really work. Okay, so now it will give you code that works. So the first thing to say is typing in the assignment that I give you, and copying and pasting that code into the server as your homework is not the way to use artificial intelligence for a couple of reasons. Okay. The first reason is that violates the honor code, which at the University of Virginia and the college at Wise is a big deal. There's a picture of old Thomas Jefferson in every classroom. Okay. So it is 100% considered cheating if you turn in work that's not your own. And if you do that, that's exactly what you've done. You didn't do the work. Now, no one person did the work. Actually, lots of people that it pulls code from have done the work, but it doesn't matter because you didn't do the work. Will I be able to tell? Well, that's not 100% the point from an ethical point of view. It's not the point at all. But the short answer is probably. I've already caught students using things that were not something I expected them to do. So here's the test I give you. Some of you may have had this test. If you turn in code that looks a little strange to me, and the Chat GPT code is often very particular and different from the way I program. So there'll be some clues. But especially if it uses things we haven't covered in class, the simple question I ask you, okay, how does this program work? If you can't explain how the program works, then you got too much help. I can't prove it's from ChatGPT or another AI, or just you got too much help from somebody. But bottom line, you should understand everything that you turn in and be able to explain it if asked, because you may be asked. Okay. So that's the wrong way to do it. But there are some good ways to use this technology. Keeping in mind, it's not 100% accurate. It suffers some hallucinations. So sometimes things are not correct. But in general, it can be very valuable, and it's only going to get better. So I've popped up Chat GPT in a window here. Let me make it a little smaller because it may make it easier if you're viewing this on your phone. Okay. So here are ways that you can and should use Chat GPT for any of your classes or any of the AIs. It doesn't matter. Okay. So let's say that we're covering structs. So the course in data structures assumes that you've had structs at the end of C++ and doesn't cover them per se. But let's say that you're a little confused on that. Okay, so you do something like, what is a struct in C++? Okay, perfectly good question. And here it's going to it gives us a lot. Let's slow it down here. It tells us what it is. It's a user-defined data type that allows you to group together variables of different types under a single name. Similar to a class, but some differences. Gives you an example even. So here's what a struct for a person looks like. Okay. Looks good. You can copy the code. You can put it in the server. You can run it. You can play with it. You can make changes. Okay. Here's in the int main, it actually tests it out. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay. Then it's going to give us some key points here, what it does. And then it's going to give us some differences. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. That works out pretty well. Okay. You can also get more detail, for example, if you want. It tells you how to do that. Okay. I could also do something like, again, if it didn't give me example, I could do like simple example, say of a class in C++. Okay. Pops one up. There's a rectangle class. It's got the length, it's got the width. It's going to give us um, the constructor. Okay. It gives us a calculate area function, different things. There's the accessors, mutators, different stuff that it does. Here's an example. Yeah, cool. Good stuff. Then it's going to go through and give us more examples on how that works. So that's fine too. Okay. So that's very helpful information. The other thing you could do something like create a tutorial on, let's say, inheritance. in C++. Okay, there you go. It's going to give you a whole tutorial here. Okay, with examples, different classes, all that stuff. Okay, there you go. Spits it all out. You can save that over here. It saves the chats you've done. You can print it out and you can use it to help understand what it is that you're doing. Okay, so again, it's of useful information. Is all of this good coding style? No. Is all of it perfect? No. But will it help you to understand? Yes, it will. So I think the ability to generate examples, and more examples and more examples on any topic that you want is very helpful. Again, especially if you copy the code over to the server and run those examples. I wouldn't put it in the class directory. You could just put it in your main root directory, and run them and see and change them and see how it works. Okay, all of that very good uses of Chat GPT. Okay, the other thing that I've found is if you have a program that's not working. Okay, so let me copy this code here real quick, and I can say something like, following code is not working. Why? Paste all that code. Let me do something crazy like uh, leave that off. Okay. You do that, it's going to look, and it's going to give us, oh, weird, it must have just put that in. It found an issue, but it wasn't the same issue that it actually had. Because that is actually, is that the correct code? I'm not sure what it actually did. Did it actually do the right thing? I don't know. Did it have that? Because it wasn't using the standard. Oh, yeah, that is correct. In this example, it did find an error. I see now what it did. You see here that it's got the C out, but it doesn't have the using namespace standard. It's not including the IO stream either. So that's what it found. So that actually was an error. But you can put your code, it will tell you. I know I've found that there are sometimes, as our programs get longer, there are very subtle, difficult to track down errors. So when you see an error in your code, the first thing you do when you compile it, you look at that line, you try to recreate what's happening to understand the error. It's really easy to see it's a typo or whatever. If that's not working, you can try some print statements to see what's going on. But another tool in our arsenal now is to cut and paste the code that you have written into Chat GPT or another AI and ask for its feedback. And for me, it's been able to find errors that I was having trouble finding because they were very subtle errors, very simple typos in just the wrong spot. Okay. So again, for examples, for tutorials, and for helping to debug your code, ChatGPT is certainly a valuable tool. Again, with the caveat that it doesn't know everything and it makes mistakes sometimes, and it doesn't always have the best style, and it rarely provides the optimal solution, but it does help you to understand. Again, the one thing you can't do, you can't, you can. Let's put it this way. The thing that you should not do that will get you in trouble is to give it your programming assignment and take its response and maybe change a few things, add your name to it, whatever, and turn that in. That's what you can't do. That's cheating. Okay. But otherwise, it's a very valuable tool that I encourage you to use. Okay. If you have questions, if you're not sure if something is allowed or not, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to talk about it with you, and we will come to a conclusion. Okay.